So I have a confession. I just tasted Mediterranean food for the first time this year. The truth is, it was really this summer. My sister was in town and we went to a local restaurant and I was going to get my taste buds trained for my trip to Israel. I wonder how my experience in a local restaurant compared to my actual visit. Let's find out more. Hey friend, welcome to this video that's part of my recap series from my very first trip to Israel. I'm not sure if you found this video because we're already friends, or maybe you're on your way to Israel and a few of my tips may just help you prepare a bit, but whatever the case is, I'm glad that you are here. Again, I'm going to share today about my experience with the food in Israel. I do not consider myself an expert, but I think hearing from other people's opinions and their experiences can only help, and I am very excited because at the end of this video, you're going to hear candid responses from others that I know that have traveled to Israel. Some of them were on the bus with me, others from another group who went the month prior. But again, I kind of gave them a candid question, and you're going to get to hear their responses. So first I want to say I've been asked the question, someone said, should I take snacks in case I don't like the food? The first thing I'm going to say is do not go prepared to not like the food. Now, I know that I'm one to talk because truth be told, I am a picky eater. I really only eat the things that I like, and I can be very slow to try new things if they're not combinations of something that I will already agree to. So for example, I don't like carrots. No matter how, that's not true. My godmother would say you eat carrot souffle from Piccadilly, but usually like raw carrots, cooked carrots, that's really not my thing. And so it may look very pretty, but that's one of those things that if I see, for example, a salad and it has carrots shredded up on top, I'm like, or else I'm trying to pick all the carrots out. So I'll give you that as a disclaimer that I am a picky eater, which is what I also think is going to help you as you listen to this perspective. But do not go prepared not to like the food, but do your best to go with an open mind. There is so much variety there that I promise you're going to find something that you can work with. But I will share, and I showed this in another video, it's my almost empty box. This was my snack box, which is nothing more than a to-go container from another restaurant. And I have this with me. These are my leftover snacks, but I'm going back to Israel in a couple of weeks. So I'm going to reload my snack box. But I had like almonds in here. Those you can take into the country. I had granola bars. I got the Ritz crackers with cheese. I had cranberries, which I love. And I also have almonds. I eat these together. Almonds and cranberries are one of my favorite snacks. And again, those were easy to put in a bag and things that I could seal up. And even during the day, it wasn't about not liking the food, but again, throwing a granola bar in my bag and being able to go, that was really nice to have with me on the journey. But as it relates to the food, I do want to share my experience. Now, we did stay in hotels the entire time that were different, but they also had wonderful restaurants with pretty much buffets for every meal. Now, I will say your time to Israel is indeed a passage. It's going to be filled with touring and you're going to be out most of the day. So I say that to say, at least in my case, our most substantive meals happened at breakfast and at dinner. So you don't want to load up to the point that you're uncomfortable, but you definitely want to make sure that you start your day off eating something that is going to give you the energy that you need to go ahead and begin your day. Now, we stayed in 3 areas. We stayed in Galilee, we went up to Jerusalem, and we ended our week in Tel Aviv. So I want to share with you just kind of how the food was. For the most part, it was pretty similar in each place, although in Tel Aviv there were more options, and we'll talk about that at the end. So again, the hotel buffets are typically lots of variety. I'm going to call it like the height of small plate eating. So their plates are a little smaller than ours, but again, you can get what you want. It's a nice way to kind of, I also don't like my food to touch. I'm just sharing all these random facts. But anyway, I would get a couple little plates, and I'm a nibbler. I'm going to taste a little bit of this and taste a little bit of that. Now let's talk about sort of, I guess, the times of day. Again, I had breakfast and dinner at the hotel. But what you do need to know is that the mixture of milk or dairy products, I should say that dairy products and meat is forbidden according to Jewish law. That's important to know, that kosher dietary restriction on dairy and meat. Why is that important? Because it means at breakfast time, there is no sausage. There is no bacon. You're going to have no meat on your breakfast buffet if you're in a hotel. But at dinner, you're going to have meat, but you won't have your dairy products. So in the morning, you're going to find an assortment of generally pastries. I found, oh my goodness. So that was one thing I was concerned about. Like there were carbs for days and I was like, oh no, I'm eating all these carbs. Well, you're going to be walking a whole lot too. So I wouldn't worry about it too much. But there were croissants, kind of a chocolate croissant. There were cream-filled croissants. I saw, oh my goodness, there were eggs multiple ways. You could have boiled eggs. You could have scrambled eggs. There were eggs inside of egg dishes. Pizza was a staple every day at breakfast, usually like a cheese pizza. I saw other vegetables. One day I saw broccoli on the breakfast buffet on the hot side. And at every meal, there is a salad bar, a gigantic bar, if you will, that will have an assortment of breads. And that can be like mostly pita, some other kinds of breads. And oh my goodness, hummus at every meal. There was hummus at every meal. I absolutely love hummus. I'll talk about that in a minute as well. Yes, at breakfast time, the salad bar kind of concept is open, but you're going to find more things like the yogurt. At every meal, I saw the mixture of tomatoes and cucumber. I don't know why I made that hard. I guess because I don't like tomatoes either. See, and it's beautiful. It is. I sent pictures to my mom. She was like, oh, that looks good. If you're a veggie lover, it is a veggie lover's paradise. There was like this coleslaw kind of thing, this cucumber and tomato, the carrots, the other shredded cabbages. And then in the morning, you're going to find other things like the yogurts. They'll be different because that's a dairy product. There's also a beautiful assortment of fruit. There were cereals. And then, of course, like coffee and juice. And no, the coffee does not taste exactly like coffee at home. The juices are a bit more kind of watered down to me, but it's going to give you the flavor. You'll be just fine. It will be good. And there's also generally a lot of whole fruit. So I would also take a piece of whole fruit on the bus with me. So that was breakfast. For lunch, we would kind of go with the flow of our tour. So I would encourage you to make sure that you have some money on hand because that may not be included in the price of your tour. So if you have to get a light meal along the way, typically tours are not stopping to do like full sit-down lunches unless you're doing something special on that day. But if your day is dedicated to touring, you're probably not going to take that time. So again, have a piece of fruit, you know, your water, your snacks with you in case you need to nibble. And if you are someone who needs, like from a diabetic perspective, to have certain snacks, keep that with you. Dinner, let's talk about dinner. Buffet style again. At dinner, you're going to get meat. And typically you have at least 3 options for meats. And I saw chicken, there was beef, there was, of course, no pork. That didn't bother me. I don't eat pork. But wonderful, fish, definitely fish. And oh my goodness, at dinner, there was pasta, there was rice, there was these wonderful sauces that the meats were cooked in, there were vegetables, and yes, the salad bar again, where you're going to have more of the same. Now this pita and hummus situation, let me just tell you, here are the 3 foods that I think that you must try while you are there. And the first one is the hummus, and I do eat hummus at home with like pita chips. And don't get me wrong, like the commercial hummus like had me going, but when I got there and I tried this like freshly made, so good. It's generally made with like chickpeas, with a drizzle of olive oil and a little bit of paprika on top. So good. I was like, okay, I could eat pita and hummus every day. And I did, like both meals. I was eating it for breakfast. Yes, yes, yes. So you must try the hummus. It's also, I don't know if you're supposed to do this. This is what I did. But they had like fresh garlic in the morning and I would kind of mix it up in there. Not too much. You don't want to run anybody away on the bus. But oh, it was so good when I mixed it up in the hummus. Just good. The second thing that you should try is the falafel. Now, falafel is usually like a deep fried ball that's made out of like chickpeas or maybe fava beans, or maybe it may be a combination of both. And let me just be honest with you. It's not my jam. I didn't love it, but I know people who do. In fact, you're going to hear that in the review. And especially for my friends who are vegetarian, don't let me butcher that. You're going to be fine in Israel. If that is you, you are going to be fine. There are so many options for you. But falafel was always an alternative for my vegan, vegetarian friends. And it can be served as balls. It just look like little fried balls by themselves. Sometimes it can be served in a pita as a sandwich. You can have things like the other lettuces or whatever on top and sauces. It makes for a great sandwich. Again, I didn't love it, but it was definitely worth trying. And I know I told y'all I don't try a lot, but I did try it, okay? Finally, shawarma. And I was like, what is that? I wasn't sure what that was going to be like. I've had, a version of shawarma at a national chain here that was nothing like what I had in Israel. This was kind of like a really wonderfully seasoned meat, kind of a sauce, if you will, wrapped inside of some kind of a bread, like a pita bread. And mine had, again, some greens on top of it. Not traditional like iceberg lettuce, but some really great greens. A shawarma can be chicken, it can be turkey, it can be lamb. Usually I will eat chicken. There were also these, I think it was chicken and lamb. Was it beef and lamb? There were some meatballs everybody was trying. I did not try those, but I heard that they were wonderful. Again, it's so much. If you are someone who is a foodie, you're open to it, you're going to have a great time eating in Israel. Be open to other types of cuisine. We ate with the Druze. Their food was amazingly seasoned, lots of variety. We had Ethiopian food twice, very traditional Ethiopian food. Again, that's one of those things that I was open to kind of tasting. Not my thing, but that's okay. I know folks who love Ethiopian, and you will find it there. Finally, I told you that I would tell you about Tel Aviv. So the hotel in Tel Aviv was pretty consistent with what we experienced in Galilee and Jerusalem. But when I went into Carmel Market, in Carmel Market were so many options. There was a great pasta place, and I found there was actually a restaurant that is owned by I believe they are of the Muslim faith. And so they had cheeseburgers. And so that was the one cheeseburger that I had while I was there. So again, I told you, you're not going to find meat and dairy in the same place with the kosher laws, with the traditional Jewish laws. And so that was like a big deal to find a cheeseburger. Oh, it was so good. And if I get back to the market, I'm going to go back and see them again. But it was fantastic. No, I did not have any digestive issues, but I'm not going to lie to you. Like the first couple of days, I took it slow. Because, again, I'm not real adventurous. I had to see what we were doing, but my body did just fine with it. No issues. Yeah. And, again, nothing that I just, was the end of the world. So I hope this helps you in some way. For the rest of this video, you're going to hear from friends of mine. And I simply ask them, what did you think about the food in Israel? If you got questions, drop them down below. I'll answer what I can. Again, I'm no expert, but I'll give you my opinion. And I hope this video helps. See y'all soon. Julian, what did you think about the food in Israel?
The food in Israel was absolutely amazing. I hear people saying that the best type of diet that we should, adopt or have is that of the Mediterranean diet. And I am flabbergasted every time that I'm there and I'm enjoying the food of that region. Just how amazing it is, how light it is, how fresh. And how the flavors just collide, and you never feel too heavy. In spite of how good the pita bread is, you still never feel so weighed down. But I love the food, I love the fresh vegetables, I love the fresh caught fish. I actually enjoy all the food.
Mimi, what did you think about the food in Israel?
I love the food. I'm a huge Mediterranean lover. And the very first day that we got there, we got off the plane and we went to go visit the Druze community, and they can throw down. So we started off on a high, and I knew from there we can only go higher.
What did you think about the food in Israel?
Oh my God. Okay, I like food anyway, and so the different flavors, the different seasonings, the different spices. I haven't been able to eat right since I've been home because the food was good. It was definitely different. I did miss my meat and cheese together. Aside from meat and cheese, food was great for me because I like food.
So, my thoughts on the food in Israel, I am very picky when it comes down to food. So, seasonings and various things like that, I have to be very careful of. And of course, you want to make sure that you experience all of the things. And so, for me, the food was, it wasn't bland, but it wasn't overly seasoned or powerful. What I found so interesting was the way that we have food in America was very different from the way that I wanted things in, for instance, for breakfast. They literally had honey from the honeycomb. That was the best thing that I had ever tasted. I was like, what is that? And then when I tasted it, it was amazing. They have all of these amazing salads that just run the gamut all the time. I thought it was absolutely amazing. But then they had very interesting things. So butter was only served at a certain period of time. It wasn't served all day. Just very interesting for me and what I've grown up with. So I enjoyed some of it. Some of it I said, oh my. But it was very good and it was a great experience.
What did you think about the food in Israel?
Ooh, the food was really good. The breakfast, I feel like they had a lot of sweets. I wasn't used to that. So, but it was really good. The breakfast was good. I love me my hummus with all my meals. Had a little bit of that. And, you know, they had the carbs too. So, but we walked it off when we did our journey.
Awesome. Jada, what did you think about the food in Israel?
It is a different type of vibe. Like the fruit is so fresh, so colorful. Sometimes you have pizza for breakfast, which is like a delicacy over there. And someone's like, pizza. But it was really good. You don't really see a lot of beef or sausage or anything like that. So like we have mushroom pizza. And so I really enjoyed it. It's a different pace and it's a great experience.
So what did you think about the food in Israel?
Oh my gosh. So let me start off by saying I'm vegan, okay? 100% vegan, for real. I ate so well. The fresh vegetables, the fresh fruit, the pita bread, the hummus, so smooth. And all the falafel I wanted. Yes, I ate very well. I was very pleased.
Denise, what did you think about the food in Israel?
The food in Israel was different, of course, from what we grew up eating, what I grew up knowing from soul food, but learning about culture and how they take it so much more serious in Israel, and how they changed the whole menu, like at McDonald's. It threw me off because I tried to order Sundays ice cream with a burger, and I got sent outside with the burger, and I couldn't come back inside for that ice cream. But the experience was amazing. The food was a little spicy, and my digestive system changed for the entire week. But it made me really think about how I was eating back at home. You know, because I was a lot more like regular. I felt a lot more energized. So I felt like the food, not dietary restrictions. You know, like it's a reason, you know, why things are kosher, or why, you know, they stick to it so much, or why it's even biblical.
What did you think about the food in Israel?
Food was amazing.
It was an 8.
8?
It was hit or miss. There were some good moments. 10 out of 10.
Oh, you like the falafel?
Yeah, I have falafel almost every day. I was
The goat experience in Palestine.
I missed that.
Oh, the food was Palestine, just 10, top 10.
Yeah,
Oh,
seriously.
my goodness.
For sure.
I'm saying they cook you, taste the oppression.
Bust down on that food.
It was good. Yeah, that beef they had at that Palestinian market, restaurant was really good.
Everything was delicious.
What did I eat that day? I don't know what I had. You had the falafel there?
Yeah,
Okay.
it was delicious. Everything was good that day.
Awesome.
Unexpected.
Thank you. Okay, sweet. Thank you.